Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic. And today we'll be talking about the planet Mars and its associated gemstone, Munga or red coral. Mars, as we know that it's in Sanskrit, it's called Kuja, and it has a direct relationship with blood. Although it does not rule over blood, blood is ruled by Moon. It is a ruler of bone marrow, actually, which is responsible for the production of blood in our bodies. Mars, as we know, is tamasic in nature. It is tamasic. People are not familiar with what natures are the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Please refer to my earlier videos. But tamasic is generally, it represents darkness and ignorance. And the real intelligence and the real knowledge, rather, more than intelligence, comes from the sattvic planets. So I will recommend, please refer to my earlier videos on this, because it's very important once you do an analysis of a chart. Mars, as we know, is red in color, and the direction Mars rules is south direction. And it gets very strong in the direction of south, and its best position in the birth chart is the 10th house, where it obtains Digbala or directional strength. It gets exalted, as we know, in Capricorn, and it gets debilitated in Cancer, and it functions very well in Aries and Scorpio. It does not function well in its debilitated sign. It becomes very restless, very unhappy there in its debilitated sign. And the Mula Trikona sign of Mars is Aries, so it gets extremely happy there. So people who are not familiar with the Mula Trikona signs, please refer to my earlier video on Mula Trikona as well. That will help you. The friendship, very friendly. Mars is very, very friendly with Jupiter, Moon, and Sun, and they are its natural friends. They come in the same family of friends. With Venus and Saturn, it's not a friendly relationship. Sometimes it can get neutral, and sometimes it can get an inimical relationship. And of course, Rahu and Ketu, who are Daityas or demons, they are not friends at all. And the biggest enemy of Mars is Mercury. Always remember that. So this was a little description about Mars, and of course, as far as nakshatras or constellation of stars are concerned, the nakshatras ruled by Mars are Mrigasira, Dhanishta, and Chitra. These are the three nakshatras. Every planet rules over three nakshatras, and these are the three nakshatras the planet Mars rules over. And I'm not going to go into detail what zodiac signs it functions very well in, what's the enemy zodiac sign, what's the friendly zodiac sign, because this can go away from the main topic which we wanted to discuss about the gemstone associated with Mars, which is Munga or red coral. So first of all, why do we need to wear a Munga or a red coral is because when Mars is afflicted, or if it's weak, or if it's combust. So there can be reasons. I mean, if it's afflicted by other malefic planets, or if it's combust or it loses its power by being in close proximity to Sun, it causes troubles. Or when it's placed in bad houses, it causes problems. Or when it's weak, otherwise, either in, a degree-wise weak, or in Shadbala, or in directional strength, it starts to give bad effects. A planet generally has to be strong and happy in the birth chart to be able to give good results. So what happens when it's afflicted, or if it's not functioning well, or if it's unhappy, then of course, since Mars is a very aggressive planet, it starts to make people very violent, extremely aggressive. I mean, it's good to have a little aggressive nature, an ambitious nature, because that's the day and age we are living in. It's good to be aggressive for soldiers and policemen to a certain extent, but when it's afflicted, when it's badly placed, it can actually get aggressive to the point that it can give negative results. Too aggressive, too violent, too rough, too crude, too cruel as well. So that's the kind of a nature. It gets very angry when Mars is afflicted. It can get a person to be extremely angry. So that is another problem. Now, as far as the diseases or other problems associated with a bad Mars is concerned, is, you can, all kinds of, since it's directly related to weapons, you can get all kinds of wounds. It's directly related to fire. You can get burns, you can get cuts, you can get disorders of the blood. Of course, once again, it's not directly, but then since bone marrow or blood marrow, whatever you like to call it, is directly related to Mars, you can get problems related to that. You can get wounded through a gunshot. You can get other problems like smallpox and other problems which are related to too much fire in the body. It could be related to your stomach as well, if it could be too much fire. Surgeries, you can be prone to surgeries. So all these kinds of problems are there when Mars is afflicted or weak or in a bad position. So that's the reason why, of course, in ancient scriptures, the use of gemstones was not very much prevalent, but recent scholars have researched and found that to get problems of Mars removed, or to take care of problems of a bad Mars, they've been using red coral as a very effective remedy to take care of the problem related to Mars, which we just discussed. So generally people are advised to wear coral on a Tuesday, because Tuesday is ruled by Mars, and then red coral can be worn on a Tuesday. And the metal in which it should be worn is a copper or a gold ring with an open back, so that the stone or the gemstone touches the skin, so that you can get the energy of Mars directly. Now, where does coral come from? That's also very important. So you can find coral in the seas, generally warm seas, and it's found in as a deposit. It's a calcium deposit which is found on the lining of rocks underneath the sea, and you'll find those deposits as coral reefs, and they could go for many meters or even longer than that. And these coral reefs are actually are taken out of the sea, and then they are carved into stones, which can make a good coral. Now, there could be a lot of shades, and the best corals are of course deep red, but they could be white corals, pink corals, and not very dark in color. So try to avoid corals which are blackish in color, or which are not deep red, because the color of Mars, as we know, of course, we are not talking about the spiritual color that is different of Mars, but the physical color of coral is deep red. So it's always better to have a deep red coral. Although there are scriptures which say that, okay, there is a Kshatriya coral, there is a Brahman coral, there is a Vaishya coral, there is a Shudra coral. So people who are Vaishyas or businessmen should wear corals which have a yellowish tinge or which are not deep red. People who are Kshatriyas or warriors should wear deep red coral, and people who are Shudras, if we were to take the caste system into consideration, of course, that does not make sense in today's day and age. But if we were to take the ancient way, how they used to do it, based on the caste system, there are scriptures who say that people who are Shudras or who are doing jobs as workers should wear a coral which has a blackish tinge. But I personally don't agree to that. I think a good red coral should be red, and it should not have any other shades. A good coral should be deep red in color for everybody, regardless of whether we want to consider the caste system or not. But anyways, there are different opinions of different astrologers on that. A deep red color is generally preferred. So these, like I said, these coral reefs are beneath the water, and it takes many years for a coral reef to mature. And once it's taken out of the seas, and of course a lot of countries have put bans on taking these coral reefs out because they've been exploited too much by commercial businessmen. But still you can find coral reefs. I don't know whether it's still allowed or legally allowed to get the coral reefs out and carve them into jewelry or gemstones, but that's how historically corals have been used. So when you use a coral, of course, these problems which we have just discussed related to the body, the mind, the behavior, the arrogance, the anger, the cuts, the wounds, and all these problems which we have discussed can be taken care of. A good sized oral coral should not be less than 6 carats in size. The larger the better, but of course between 6 and 10 carats is an ideal size to wear. It is generally worn on the ring finger. And one of the important things which you have to keep in mind is it should be regular in shape, and preferably it could be an oval shape or a round shape. A lot of astrologers have started prescribing corals as in the shape of a triangle as well, which is also very auspicious in case the coral suits you. So the important thing is that you should not have corals which have holes. You should not have corals which have dents, which you should not wear corals which are broken, or you should not wear corals which are uneven in color, many shades, black spots, white spots, unevenness. So try to get a healthy, good looking, deep red, shiny coral with a smooth surface, and that is going to give you a good effect. Now the question is that how do we figure out as to what coral is going to be good for us, or in other words, whether coral is going to be good for us or not. So there are different ways of prescribing, because there's a word of caution here. Just don't go and experiment and wear a coral yourself. You should consult an expert Vedic astrology and try to figure out as to what would be the best gemstones for you to wear, of course, and then in case coral is suitable for you or not. Otherwise don't wear it, because coral is an extremely strong planet. It represents Mars, which is a tamasic, major malefic, and it can cause great harm in case it does not suit you. So do not, if you have problems which we have just discussed related to your behavior or your body or other kinds of problems, and you think you'll just go to the internet and buy a coral and wear it, please don't do that, because then you're inviting trouble if you're not contacted and consulted an expert Vedic astrologer whether that coral is going to suit you or not. So be very careful whether it has to suit you, because like I said, although even the sattvic planets gemstones can harm, but not as much harm as if you wear a gemstone of Mars, which is coral, and does not suit you, it can get you any kinds of problems. It could get you into an accident. It could get you into some kinds of major diseases. It could get you into any kinds of wounds and cuts and problems related to the blood and blood marrow, all that stuff. So do not experiment it. And there are ways of astrologers. There are ways which astrologers use as to finding out whether a coral is going to be suitable for you or not. So the best way, I wouldn't say the best way, one of the ways is to find out whether Mars is a benefic planet for you or not, as a functional benefic, and that you can figure out several ways. One of the ways is through your Lagna chart. The other way is through your moon chart, or your Chandra Rashi chart, as it's called, or moon Rashi chart, or a moon chart, whichever way you want to call it. That's another way. And some astrologers prescribe gemstones based on the nakshatras, as to what nakshatra is suitable for you. Where is your moon placed? Whether it's a moon, whether moon's placed in a nakshatra ruled by Mars or not, whether that nakshatra is suitable for you or not. whether your ascendant is ruled by the nakshatra ruled by Mars. And like I said, some people use the ascendant chart, some people use the moon chart, and they do not take into consideration the nakshatras, which are important in deciding whether a gemstone is going to be suitable for you or not. But there are several astrologers. I'm not going to get into detail as to which astrologer has the best way of prescribing gemstones, because gemstones prescription is a very, very tricky thing, and only experts can find out as to whether a gemstone is going to be suitable for you or not. So once again, like a disclaimer, I'm just mentioning once again, please do not experiment it yourself. Go to an expert Vedic astrologist. But one of the things which I'll definitely say is that the problems which we just discussed in the beginning of this video, if you see these kind of problems as too much arrogance, too much anger, too much aggression, that gives you some kind of hint that, hey, Mars is giving you a problem. Okay, so you go and consult a Vedic astrologer, and then of course you have to see whether Mars is badly placed, afflicted, weak, and whether a Mars gemstone coral is going to be suitable for you or not, and then you can determine and you can wear it to your advantage. So hopefully you did enjoy this video on Mars and its associated planet, associated gemstone, coral, red coral. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I'll see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.